Hello, my name's Pepper Lopez, and I will be talking today about my project for Intro to Engineering. I will be talking about synthetic forests and the idea behind them, and my project falls under the Saving the Environment Grant Challenge. So currently our solution that we have in progress to helping reduce the CO2 levels is first of all preventing them, so driving less around cars, taking bikes and walking, using less power when we can, just basically lowering our consumption of fossil fuels. We also have a system of carbon capture, which is basically at these plants where carbon is burned, the CO2 gas that is released is basically captured and it is stored and recycled in a way that can be useful. However, it's not 100% certain that you will be getting a significant amount of carbon dioxide from this capture, as it requires a lot of energy and a lot of heat, and you usually are giving off more CO2 than capturing it in the base of these coal-fired power plants. And this also has to do with the global emissions of the entire world. As you can see from here, we have the USA at the bottom and we have Japan at the top. We both have relatively the same amount of the population is relatively the same, but you can see here that these emissions are completely different. The US gives about 5 times more than Japan does, and you have China here, who is all the way to the top. So China will be our #1 country in releasing these emissions, these CO2 emissions, which is not good, but for the amount of people that they have, it's pretty obvious that they will have the most. In India here, you see that while it has a relatively high amount of people, it doesn't necessarily mean that they also have a high amount of global emissions in their part. And you can see that they're doing pretty well, that it's pretty sustainable. One way of solving the ever-rising levels of CO2 is to go to an economic side. So there's been a solution that has been proposed where it holds each country accountable for the amount of CO2 that they release. So this basically makes each country responsible and makes them pay a fine if they are above the global level of CO2 emissions. So for example, if a country was over the global emissions level, they would end up paying fines for being over the level. So maybe it would be like $10 per ton of CO2 gas that they release from their country. So then they will end up paying that much money. And then if the country is below the level, they would actually get paid. So again, they wouldn't have to pay a fine, but then instead they themselves will get money for their country. It's basically an incentive for countries to reduce their global emissions, as those countries who are above the global level, they would want to reduce their global level so they wouldn't have to pay so many fines. And it could be billions and billions of dollars, as you can see in China, where they had a massive amount of CO2. And then those countries who are below the levels would want to continue to have that level below the global level, since they would be receiving money and possibly even lower their consumption and emissions to get even more money. But the only flaw in this is getting basically all the countries to agree, because probably not all major developed countries would want to participate in this, since they would have to pay billions and billions of dollars. The only ones who would really want to participate in this are those countries that are already below the level and are doing such a good job and would want to get money. So since that one's not the best of ideas, we also have this proposed idea, it's fairly new, of synthetic forests. So basically what's going to happen here is that there's going to be a whole bunch of CO2 in the air. And then this CO2 that's in the air will be taken in through these little holes, and they will bind with a carbon-seeking chemical, whether that is diffused in water or it's just a solid that's been dissolved in water as well. And then in this, the CO2 would be captured and then stored inside here, and then the air would just flow through back out, which essentially is making this an artificial carbon sink, much like our trees are in the Amazon. This is a better solution that we can go through, just because it's newer so far. We have been seeing results, but not the results that we need to. We do need to lower the levels, and quickly, as we can see with all the hurricanes and tornadoes and the weird weather that we've been having lately. So this solution is worth a try, and it might even be helpful to combine this solution with the economic solution, just to get things lowered and get things better for the future generation. Thank you.